There is a TopNet bot.
It's for the recording actually.
Okay.
They record these webinars. So, Tanish, you are able to see anyone who's kind of now joining in and wants an access.
No, I think
It's
Sumit
an
sir,
open
you're
to
able
all.
to comment directly.
Got it. Got it. That's even better. Perfect. All right.
Uh, okay, let me post this link on the group also. Should we do it or should we not? Folks, let's wait for another 5 minutes for people to join in and then we'll start. Uh, Siddhartha, do you mind switching on your camera if that's okay?
Hi, Tanesh. Hi, everyone. Very good evening.
Hey guys, let me know whenever we are ready to start.
Yes, Sumit sir will start at 7:05. Just waiting for people to join in. I think
Sounds good.
just waiting for 2 more minutes and I think we'll
Awesome.
join in. Start.
So, Tanish, do remember to take a picture when everybody's kind of at the peak of it, and which that would be nice to kind of go it on the website,
Yeah,
and I'll introduce both of you guys. Yeah.
sure.
So,
Awesome. folks are just starting in. Just
Shall we start?
yeah, let's start. I'm good. Cool, awesome.
Guys, I'll take a minute, Tanish and Siddharth, Roshan, just a second. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. We have over 100 registrations for today, so I'm expecting more people to join in. And it's a part of our initiative of doing these more interview ready, prep ready kind of workshops at Interview Club. So Tanishq and both Roshan are kind of our marquee lead mentors on the platform. They're also available for one-on-one in case if you want to do, more resume review and otherwise. So Tanishq is he's an ex Amazon product leader, been running his own interview communities and really helping people to kind of get up to the mark. Roshan is a product lead with Tata Businesses, so comes with really solid understanding on how to scale businesses, how to lead products, and really build it out. So yeah, we will probably have a subscription product very soon, so you'll get to know all the emails and all the cool stuff that we are doing. But expect a lot of these coming forward. And would love to know from all of you on what all kind of workshops you would want us to do, and that would be very helpful. So you can towards the end maybe we can have a poll, type it us in the chat box, and let us know what you want us to really get you guys you know running on. And with that, Tanishq and Roshan, the stage is all yours, and thank you so much for doing this for the community and spending your evening with us. Thanks. Over to you.
Hey, thanks, by the way, Sumit, for I would say giving us an opportunity. It's amazing, and I think it's always fun to contribute and meet new folks. So, yeah. So that you wanna like to add something?
Yeah, hey, hi everyone. I think as Sumit mentioned, we are just trying to build a platform where we help you guys out, to learn on the product space. Any doubts that you guys have, right now this session is on guesstimates. As you mentioned, we can also do a one-on-one. Any other doubts that you have on, in space of product, otherwise, uh, always there to help. So yeah, so I think let's start off with it, Tanishq, and then probably we can, at the back end of the session, we can ask team to have any questions that they might have.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Roshan. Thanks, Sumit. So I think, guys, topic for today is art of guesstimates. So I think we'll just start with a quick intro as to why you should even care about guesstimates, right? Firstly, I think from an interview point of view, it is one of the most commonly asked question, right? Um, I think other than that, it also helps as a interviewer to basically judge your problem solving skills, quantitative ability, right? And also see if you can make reasonable assumption or not, right? How it impacts in our day-to-day job is if you guys are creating any product roadmap, right? One of the very critical part of that is actually forecasting the impact of your initiative, right? So essentially, the opportunity cost, calculating the impact of the opportunity, also the cost of the project, right? I mean, how much, how many SDs would you want? What would be the marketing spend, right? So whenever you're writing a business proposal, these are very important part of it. So guesstimate plays a very vital role over here, right? Where we forecast these projections. So it's just not for the interview. This would also help you in your day-to-day job as well. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think I'll quickly jump into the framework as to how we can solve the guesstimates, right? Just like any other product question, as soon as you see a question, the very first thing is product questions are always vague, right? They wanted to see how you can put a structure to an ambiguous problem. So the very first thing you should do is you should try to understand the scope, right? How you can do this is through clarifying questions, right? So for example, I mean, this question was asked to uh, me, which was essentially, can you please estimate the number of Uber rides in Delhi, right? So the follow-up questions I had was, okay, what I mean, what is the time duration in which you want me to estimate the Uber rides, right? It could be daily, it could be monthly, right? At that time, interviewer told me to calculate it at a daily basis, right? Other than that, as we all know, if you were to talk about Uber, there can be different segments also, different product lines, right? It could be Uber Bike, it could be Uber Go, then there is a premium category, there is a auto category, right? I asked a similar question: should we consider all cab rides, or do you have a particular category in mind? Again, the interviewer's response was to focus on um, all the rights. There can be two ways. Some of the interviewers would be proactive. They would give you, okay, you should choose this particular segment. Others can also call it out. Why don't you go ahead and make an assumption, right? Over there, you can just make any assumption which you feel would help you to solve your case better. Make that assumption and move forward, right? Okay, so this was like the first step, right? Second thing, right, which is to actually, now I know I have to calculate the number of Uber rides in Delhi, NCR, and per day, right? So there are two ways of doing it, right? So okay, sorry, let me take a step back. So I think next step is to actually come up with a formula to solve the question, right? Two ways again of doing it is, one is you can use a top-down approach, others is a bottom-up approach, right? Top-down is again very simple. You start with the entire population set and then you scope it down, right? So I'll just walk you through an example. Bottoms up is basically you start with the smallest unit and then you extrapolate it to the entire population, right? It's generally preferred to have a top-down approach where you start with the entire population and then try to segment it down, right? And then try to prepare your guesstimate, right? I'll just tell you how I've been taking an example of this, right? So a top-down approach could be, okay, can you please tell me what is the um, number of Uber rides that are there in Delhi NCR? So how I came up with this formula is, okay, it is basically nothing but number of Uber users and the average number of rides that user take, right? So then how did I started? I started with, okay, what is the total Delhi's population? That is like top down, right? So I started with, okay, what is the total Delhi population? That is 2 crores, that is nearly round about 20 million. Then I said, and see, this is an assumption, right? So you can make reasonable assumption, and if an interviewer has a problem, he or she will correct you. So I said, okay, my internet penetration is about 50%. So then I said, okay, 10 million, right? Out of which I made another assumption that about 60% of the people in Delhi's population, because again, Delhi is a tier one city. It has people have a brand recall. They know what cab aggregators are. So it's fair enough to make a 60% as an assumption, right? Other than that, we know it's a duopoly. So there is between Ola and Uber. So I just made a reasonable, fair assumption stating that Uber might be half and Ola is half, right? So I came up with 3 million. So as you can see, I started with the overall population, then I came up with a number of how many people I feel would actually use Uber, right? Now what I have done is, again, just to calculate which is the average number of rides, right? I have again broken down our entire segments into different cohorts, which can be power users, daily users, frequent users, and your casual users, right? So power users essentially the people who take about 10% of the rides, right? Then there are daily users who take about 5 rides. Then there are frequent users who takes about 3 rides, and then there are casual users who take 1 ride, right? And then I have taken a guesstimate of how I feel the cohort distribution would be, right? And again, these are basically, just applying normal distribution framework. You must know about the bell curves, right? So this is in fairly in touch with that, right? So I've written that power users essentially stand for 10% of our cohort. Daily is 20%, frequent is 30%, and casual is 40%. Right. Then what I've done is, this is coming to the third step, right, where we have to now calculate all the numbers, right? So how I would go about doing it is, now that I have the cohorts, I know the uh, distribution which came out to be 3 million. I would then distribute the numbers at power users, daily users, frequent users, and casual users, right? I also know their average number of rides, right? I would calculate what their daily rides would be. I would multiply it and sum it up to come up with, okay, how many rides does a power user as a category take, then daily users, frequent users, and then I would sum it up to get the answer. Again, guys, we'll walk you through to an example, right? We'll also give you a live demo. It's just for you guys to understand the framework, hence I'm not showing the calculations here, right? Yeah. Other than that, I think always do a sanity check, right? Which is where, if you come up with an estimate, you might have made some wrong assumptions, because as you can see over there, I have made a lot of assumptions, right? What is the population? How that distribution of how that distribution curve across different cohorts look like, right? Those assumptions can be very off, right? So you should try to make a guess, try to make a logical guess, right? So imagine, I'll try to make a logical guess, right? Imagine there is uh, 2 crore people, right? I mean, it's fairly not possible that everybody in 2 crores is gonna take a ride every day, right? So if I imagine, if I land up in an answer which is 2 crores, it's huge, right? It may not be correct, right? So I think try to, have some market sense to do a sanity check whether how off your number is, right? Obviously this comes with experience, right? Other than that, another way of validating it is to also do a bottoms up approach, right? Both, but top down and bottom up, you should try to reach to a fairly, I would say, plus minus, you can say a variation of 10%, but they should be more or less similar, right? Again, there is no right or wrong answer to guesstimates. It's just a way for an interviewer to check how you have structured the question. Okay. We'll jump into Roshan's experience really quickly, right? Roshan, why don't you share your experience, how guesstimates have been asked with you in the interview, right? Over to
Sure,
you.
sure. Hi everyone. Uh, thanks, Tanishq. I think that was really insightful. I would just, I think Tanishq has more or less covered, what exactly guesstimate interviews questions are like, right? And he has given a good structure of top-down and bottom-up approach. Uh, so I think not much to add over there, but what I will do, guys, is that I will give you some real-world experience that I, in person, have had, with different interviews that I have given, question that I've solved. Yeah, I think someone has a question. I think I'll take a pause. Um,
Yeah, so Roshan, you can continue. I think I can try to answer the questions in the chat. Somebody's asking for a bottoms approach as well. I'll try to answer it in the chat.
cool, great. Right. So that's where I was coming from, right? It's very important, in a guesstimate interview, I think, guys. So I'll just give you a few thumb rules, right? And just try to stick by these, and I think you guys will be good, right? So first things first, in a guesstimate question, uh, never ever give an answer upfront, right? Uh, if they are asking you a question, the worst thing that you can do in an interview in a guesstimate is give an answer upfront. Let's say, if like example that Tanishq gave, right? In that, if if you're telling how many people are taking a cab ride, if you're just giving an answer like, sir, 2 lakhs, uh, that's the moment that the interviewer has, making a strong judgment for you, and that might just not work in your favor. So never ever, that's the thumb rule, give an answer upfront, however confident you are. Maybe that even you know the answer. Maybe you are that knowledgeable that you have that answer with you, but you should not give an answer upfront to the interviewer ever. That's the first thumb rule that you're gonna, go ahead within the interview. Second is that, a very generic one is that you have to be confident, right? When you are answering a guesstimate question, the moment you start fumbling is the moment the interviewer starts to get a grasp on you, a hold on you, and that is the moment your candidature starts becoming weak. So ensure that you are confident in your approach when you are trying to answer a question. You are very candid about what other things that you know, what assumptions you are taking, and those assumptions have to be a part of a basic general knowledge. So when I talk about general knowledge, that brings me to my third point, which is where you have to have a very uh, decent understanding of few things that a guesstimate questions do have. For example, the population of your city, right? Uh, so there's some questions, right? Of course, we'll help you out with those, but these are the things that you guys have to just the GK comes with time, knowledge comes with time, right? You have to be aware of few very fundamental things, uh, right? So these are things that will help you answer any guesstimate questions. And uh, whenever you are starting that, the fourth point is to break it down, right? Whenever you are having a question, like even I think Tanishk also made a point to cover that, but just to give you a feel of it, break down the question, right? And go to a granular level. This is something that has personally helped me in multiple questions. I have always tried to break the question down to a level uh, from where then I can start adding the numbers over there and eventually get an answer out over there. Of course, we'll give you a exact look and feel of what a guesstimate question looks like, just to ease out things for you. But that said and done, uh, it might look a lot difficult, but trust me, it really is not. Just follow the basics. Guesstimates is, in terms of proper definition, it's more about educated guesses and having a rough estimate. This is all. They're not looking for an answer. If you are plus minus 5-10% haywire to the answer, even that's fine. And there's no right way of doing it, right? It's something which is very logical, that comes to any one of us, right? And of course, being aspiring PMs, we do have that knack of mathematics with us, and a simple logic is something that will get you the answer for a guesstimate question. um, and of course, this just to add to what Nisha again said, was to ask questions, right? Be interactive in a guesstimate question, because that one brings me to my second point. It will help you look more confident, and second, it will help even narrow down your part to a specific part of the problem that you really want to solve. A guesstimate question might be a very huge, right? Uh, and you might not have the answer for it, but if you keep asking questions, the question might get shortened, or the volume might get small, and then you will be able to answer it in a much better fashion. uh, I think a guesstimate starts for all of us. I think all of us, in fact, I think are very much hands-on with guesstimates. Why do I say that? Just just take an example where we go to a pani puri shop, right, or a momos shop, right? uh, all of us must have thought that, hey, look, the momos guy is selling 50 rupees per plate, right? And let's say if he sells 100 plates a day, he'll be having a revenue of 5,000 rupees in a day. And if I talk about a month, that's 1.5 lakh rupees per month. Some would say that's even better than my job. He's earning more than me. But then this is where exactly comes the part where the guesstimates are something that's innate to us. That's something that we have been doing from our childhood. It's just that right now you have to put in perspective, and you have to get it straight, and you have to be confident and formal. That's all. So you have been doing it, just make it more formal, structure your thoughts, and that's where we are here to help you. um, Last but not the least is that your answer and assumptions should be reasonable, right? They shouldn't be way off. It shouldn't look like if I'm asking like about the momos example, if I give you over there, it should not be like he's playing he's selling 1 lakh plates a day. I think that's egregious. That won't be an answer, right? So just ensure that your answer is within the bounds, And that's something which, whenever you're giving an answer to your interviewer, just ensure that this is where you have to stick to. And whenever you are, if answer not coming over there, you can always take a moment back, take a step back, ask the interviewer, so can I take a minute or two, put your head around, right, on the paper, on a pen, and just think out where you are going wrong. Just forget everything in the world, and just the question is there and you are there. And once you're able to get to the gist of the question, I'm pretty much sure that that interview is you'll be able to crack that interview, and then that question is not something that will be a big problem for you. So that's where I would just say that my experience was there. uh, Apart from this, what I would suggest you guys is, once you guys are done with this session, and if you want to understand, more about guesstimates and be more sharp at it, uh, do a peer review. Be collaborative, right? Uh, Take any question, right, and start answering with each other. For example, uh, let's say you are going to a wedding, right? Uh, Many times we ask each other that, hey, what will be the cost of this wedding? So when you are trying to get to the cost of a wedding, you are basically breaking down that wedding cost into different verticals. Decoration will be there, food is there, right? Then there's also the drums, the beats. Then there are the puja is there. So you have to understand that where exactly are the things that cost, how much will it cost, and then that will also be dependent for a city. For example, if you're in a tier one city, it will cost something. If it's a destination wedding, it will cost something else. So my point is, talk to each other in every day, wherever you are going. Just try to do a guesstimate of anything it could be. Right? I'll give you an example of a city of a wedding, right? When you're going, for example, there's a building that is getting constructed. Just out of the blue, just think of what will be the cost of this building when they're constructing it. If that person is selling that 2 BHK flat to me for 40 lakh rupees, how much will it be that he is incurring in his cost? So you see, I gave you very different examples, right? Wedding scene was there, building scene was there. Now all of this you will need to have a basic, decent general knowledge for that. When I talk about a building construction, what is the cost of a cement? What is the labor cost? These are few general things that you will have to be aware. Keep your eyes and ears open. So a guesstimate question also checks what exactly is it that you are aware of in terms of your GK, your general awareness, and that is something that will come a huge way once you're trying to crack question on guesstimate. So keep your eyes and ears open, practice a lot of guesstimate questions, do a collaborative review, talk to each other. Just ask someone that, hey, look, I did this, this is my approach, how do you think you will approach this? You will get to know the other perspective also, because in a guesstimate a question, there's no right or wrong. You don't have a specific way of doing it, and if someone is doing it the other way, even that's not wrong, provided you are coming to an answer with a rational approach which is not way beyond the exact number that is required for the answer. So this is where I would just take a pause, and I think what I would then rather be going towards is to take a probably question from Tanish, and then give you guys a real world understanding of how we should be doing it. What I'll do is I'll be showing it to you on an Excel file, right? Just to give you a very clear understanding of what exactly step by step I'm doing, what I'm thinking. What you guys can do in an interview is take a pen and paper, because that's something which in an interview helps you focus more, concentrate more, and then give an answer. It's entirely upon you. You can do it on an Excel file or a Word document, whatever makes you feel better. But do keep practicing it, and more you practice guesstimate questions, the nearer the chances are that you will get to a right answer for a guesstimate question. So yeah, I think with that I'll just take a pause, and Tanish, if you can just uh, pop up a question for me so that I can help the team over here.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, by the way, Siddharth, for walking us through your experience. Guys, I'd just like to add something over here to what Siddharth has added. While you're prepping for interviews, there's also like a guesstimates cheat sheet where, as Siddharth was calling out, right, there are some assumptions that we make, some distribution that we can. So I think which are like what are the market trends, right? Like I was doing a distribution in terms of power users and all those, right? So I think generally there's certain sort of trends that are followed, right? So I can maybe after the session I could share that cheat sheet with you, like what is the population of the country, how what is the basically divide based on the income levels, bunch of those things, right? So that's essentially a cheat sheet that has been compiled with the experience. I'll share that with you. Okay, awesome. So that let me go with a question for you, right? Um, okay. Um, can you help me estimate the number of cars that are present in Delhi? Let me know if you want me to repeat the question.
Sure, Tanish. If you can just help me clarify the question once more, I think that will be really helpful.
Sure. Roshan, do you mind sharing your screen? Where-
Yes, I'm just doing it while you were telling me the question. Yes. 1 second. Uh, yes, please do let me know once my screen is visible.
it is visible to me. Folks, I hope it is visible to you guys as well. Can you guys just give a thumbs up? Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. It's working. Okay, we got a lot of thumbs up now. Now I'm feeling motivated.
So am
Awesome.
I.
Awesome. Now people are giving me a lot of thumbs up, man. Okay. How many? Okay, let me repeat the question. How many
Sure,
cars are present in Delhi?
got it. Sure. Thank you, Tanish, for the question. I'll just take a moment to think through that and probably let you know my thoughts over there.
Sure.
Yes. I have a few follow-up questions, Tanish. If you can help me understand, are we talking about private personal cars or even the public cars which you're talking about? When I say public, the
Um,
cabs or just about the private cars you're mentioning?
yeah. So I think right now let's stick with private cars. Um,
Got it. And if I talk about, I was just trying to, tell me about asking about for specific hatchback sedan SUVs or in general about all the cars. Just want to understand over there.
no, I think right now let's look at all the car categories.
Sure. Right. Sure. Sure. I'll just put my head around it, Tanish, and let you know in a minute about my understanding or thoughts over there.
Sure. Uh, Sir, do you mind walking us through
Sure.
what
So,
you?
yes, Tanish, sure. I'll just walk you through my thoughts over there, and then probably, you can let me know if there are any clarifications required over there. So what I've done is, I've taken a basic understanding of Delhi's population, which is, I've taken about 2 crores is what, I've taken an assumption for Delhi's population. What I've done is then I've taken about the number of families uh, in Delhi because I'm trying to talk about the ownership of a car in terms of a family. So I divide that by five. This is take an example because there are some joint families also, as a concept in India. So what Dr. Dunn has taken 5 people on average in number of families. So that brings me to 40 lakh families that's currently there in India, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Going ahead, Tanish, what I have done is that I have divided the population of Delhi into 4 classes, right? The lower class, uh, the lower middle class, upper middle class, and the upper class. My assumptions over here are now that the lower class is the 30%, lower middle class will be 30% again, upper middle class will be again somewhere around 30%, and the top upper class will be 10% is what I believe in Delhi NCR. Of this, uh, the lower class I think will not be owning a vehicle. The lower, so that's where I have taken zero as a answer over there. Uh, Lower middle class will also not be owning a car per se. They might be owning a two-wheeler, a scooter or a bike per se. Talking about the upper middle class, I'm assuming that they will be having at least one um, car per family, and the upper class will be on an average having 2 cars per family. So that's where my assumptions are, and then I've done a simple math. I have tried to multiply the percentages of different classes into the number of families. So that brings me 12 lakh lower class families, and similarly for middle and lower middle and upper middle class, and then 4 lakh for the upper class families in Delhi NCR. Now, if I take the lower class, there's 0 cars, and so for lower middle class, upper middle class will have one, and upper class will have two. And then a simple math by multiplying, the number of families with number of cars that I've assumed will be there per family. So that's coming to 12 lakh for upper middle class and somewhere around 8 lakh for the upper class. So, and if I add these both, I'm coming somewhere to 20 lakhs, cars in Delhi NCR is what my guesstimate is for this question.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay. Do you feel you want to do any sanity check to make sure your assumptions are correct, or do you feel this is good?
Um, In terms of sanity check, I think I was just trying to understand about Delhi's population. That's one figure of which I'm pretty much sure. So Delhi's population currently is 2.4 cr, but I've taken that to be at 2 cr. So that's one assumption I've taken just to make the calculations easier. But yeah, I think apart from that, the numbers which I've taken are my assumptions. That's coming to 20 lakhs over there.
Okay, fair. Okay. I think assumptions are good enough. Um, I think it's just what I feel is I think population might be a little bit more, so your upper middle class numbers might go down, but I think the aggregated figure which you call out is also like the overall estimate which I feel is more or less correct. Um, right? Yeah, but I think what I just feel just because population will go up, and I think like I don't think 40% of the people might own a car. It might be like 25-30%. But then
Right.
given that number is going up and this is shrinking, so like the aggregation I feel is more or less gonna remain the same. But you have had a very fair estimate, and I think your framework was pretty well. Um, so really liked it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Folks, you have any questions on like how Siddharth approached and you like anything you want to understand? You guys can unmute. Hi
Hi,
there.
I would like to have a question. So,
Go ahead.
for questions like this, can we, do we usually take a number or static figures, or can we usually take up a range as well? For example, just like you said that there might not be one car in the lower middle class, but the times have been changing and the lower middle class are also bringing up their game, right? They are having at least one car, either it is second hand or anything. And the upper middle class have been, they have one old car which they have been using and one new car which they usually use for every purposes, right? So can we take up a range as an answer, and can we take that into consideration, or does it always have to be a static figure, a single number?
No, so I think I can answer, but I think Siddharth can also add. No, see, over here, what numbers I think Siddharth has also taken our average figures, right? Honestly, I don't necessarily agree with you because I think in India, definition of lower middle class is like too low. I don't know if you have looked at India's chart or not. Just go and look at India's income distribution, right? I don't think lower middle class can actually even afford a car. I feel it's still a little bit on the upper class. So I would have rather kept it like below poverty line, lower, upper, and like rich class, right? This was like at least how I have breaken it down. But I think the lower middle class definition is uh, about 1 lakh or 2 lakh as per year's annual income. I don't think you can afford a car in that, to be very honest. But just to answer your question, I think Siddharth has done it really well, where he has taken an average figure. If you take a range, it becomes super difficult to bottom it down because you can't, like, if you have to give me an answer to me as an interviewer, you would rather give me like a concrete figure, right? Um, as an interviewer, I also know you don't know the figures. These are just guesstimates. Nobody has done it. You are seeing it for the first time, right? But I think reasonable assumptions are important because even in when you're doing your product roadmap, at that also essentially, if you have to stack rank, you can't give them a figure because figure is super vague, right? If I have three projects within the same range, like how would you prioritize it? I can't do it, right? So I think again, it can be a low confidence number, it can be a high confidence number, which is fine. But I think coming to a static figure is important because if that's how we even use it in our roadmap. But Siddharth, you can also add yours thoughts also on this.
Sure. I think I would just take a stab at that, and probably what I would then tell you is that there's no right or wrong way of doing it. As you know, I think Tanishq mentioned, even I mentioned multiple times, right? If you want to do it in a range, do it in a range. If you want to do it in a format of an absolute number, go ahead with that. Both the approaches are right, but when I've given this answer as 20 lakhs right now, this is where the ballpark answer should be, right? If you give a range, it then should be between 18 to 22 lakhs. If that's an answer you're giving me as an interviewer, I would say cool. I think you are there. You might not have the exact answer, but I think you are there. So range is fine, but as again we mentioned, ranges working in ranges makes your calculations a bit difficult.
Yes.
Taking absolute numbers are something which will help you get to an answer faster and easier. And because, of course, uh, getting the right answer is good, but it is also important to give the answer in a faster fashion, right? If let's say there's a parallel candidate, he has also given the same answer. If he has given in a lesser time than you or half time than you, then of course the interviewer is judging your aptitude at that point as well. So that's where so that's where I took an answer of going with an absolute number, and I think that's something which you should just try once. Otherwise, there's no right or wrong answer. You can take a range, also just to answer your question over there. Yeah, I think we have few hands raised, so I think that's pretty interesting. Please go ahead. I think we'll take it one by one. Yeah, Arshdeep, if you wanna go ahead once, right
Yeah.
now.
Hey. Yeah. Thanks for walking through this example. I
Yeah.
had a question that can we take a different approach wherein like people who can afford to buy a car are more likely going to buy a car. So basically while I was solving the question, I took the approach of average income of the people who would be like greater than 4 to 5 lakhs who are more likely to buy a car, and then estimating depending upon that.
Yeah, in fact, you can do that. But again, what you're seeing on the screen right now, this is a culmination of that itself. You're talking about affordability. Upper middle class is nothing but affordability. Upper class is
Yep.
nothing but affordability into two. I'm just trying to tell you that even yeah, that approach is fine, completely fine. So that's what
Yep.
I'm saying. There's no right or wrong answer over there. That's perfectly cool if you want to go with affordability. But then, how do you tell the interviewer that you're talking about a particular, affordability of a family that comes through
Got it.
the middle class, upper middle class, and then that. So of course, so that's where I was just trying to answer you. I hope I was able to clear it out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think Ishveen, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. This makes me realize how much I need to practice these types of questions as someone who's aspiring to break into product. My question is, and I guess the answer might just be a generic, you just have to practice, but I was wondering how, like, how did you know to go into these categories? Like, when you see a question, how did you quickly know that, hey, I'm going to look at it as, I'm going to split it up in terms of X categories? Like, that's my, if that question makes sense. Like, I like how you were able to justify this by breaking it down into four different categories, which are lower class, upper middle class. But like, my brain wouldn't even go there. So how do I do that?
So,
Sure. Go ahead.
yeah, so that you can also add. So I think Ishween, am I speaking your name correctly? I hope.
Yes.
Um, I think it comes with practice, to be very honest, right? But at a very Uber level, you should see that, like I was giving that Uber example, right? I went ahead and looked at the usage as basically a way to categorize, right? Whereas Siddharth took income as a way to categorize, right? Some people even go a step further. Like we did only one level of categorization. What they then do is they do one level and then they do another level. So imagine it to be like a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have entire cohort, then you used one factor like Siddhartha's used income. He created four subcategories, right? Then we can use another factor and then break it down even further, right? But I think just to answer your question, there's no right or wrong again, right? Just depends on how much complexity you can solve, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I feel is once you go up the ladder, right? I
Mm-hmm.
would want to see you breaking it even further down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe as you were saying, you were trying to break in that you are trying to maybe go at an APM level. I would again, it's not, it's a again, there's no right or wrong, right? It always depends. But as a good mental model is to at least do one level of categorization,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at a high level, like at least use one factor. Like he has used income, I use the number of rides they have taken over a week as a way, right? So
Mm-hmm.
use it one level of four, and whether you should create three or four categories, I think that just comes with experience. The more questions you solve, right,
Yeah.
you will try, you'll start seeing a pattern, right? Again, there's no right or wrong, but you will start doing a pattern. Just go over like 10, 12 questions, you'll see a pattern. Trust me, you will be coming to me and telling me, well, we'll do it like this.
Yeah.
By the way, how Siddharth has done it, income is generally at 3 to 4 levels. So it's also like a pattern. Since Siddharth, you can also chime in there. So it's also pattern. You will see most of the people, if they're breaking income as a category, they'll try to break it to three or four categories. That's pretty much set way of doing things. Like you just look at examples, you'll get it. It's there's some best
Yeah.
practices, but you'll see patterns. It's super
Yeah,
easy
I
to.
think when you solved the Uber question, that made sense because it was logical. Like, yeah, I'm going to see the number of rides. So
Correct.
when your question was just how many cars, I really liked how he picked income and then broke it down further. So you're right, it takes practice and makes sense. I like that you called out that you said, hey, you're going to use one factor, like find the factor. So thank you for that.
No worries.
Just to add to what Tanishka said quickly, Ishwin, I think you are underestimating yourself. I think every one of us, so this was the first thing which came to me as the when I was solving the first question of on a guesstimate. Uh, but then, there was no one to tell me this, that when I'm going to a local eatery shop, that maths is something which I have been doing from childhood. That if I'm going to a pani puri shop, I'm going to just eat any
Yeah.
snack, right?
Yeah.
This guy is selling for this much. then multiply it by that much, that will come to annual revenue. And this is something I was doing, and that's why I'm able to do it over here. Just do that, right? And I'm pretty much sure you would have been doing it in some form or the other. Maybe you don't have the right examples to hit your that part of the mind which has been doing that since childhood. Just hit that part of yours, and I'm telling you that this is going to be very easy. As the Krishna mentioned, you're going to come to us and tell us about how to go about this. But yes, I think this is something which is will come by practice. But just to give you a little confidence, this is something that you have been doing it from the childhood, from your past. If I ask you what's your what's the total amount spent on education on a child, what will you do? You just
Yes.
simply start calculating
Yep.
year wise, right? Or just
Yeah.
break it down into primary, secondary, and higher education. As simple as that.
Yep.
So just something that you will always be doing right now. Even if you grow in your career, you will be doing it. It's just that we have named it guesstimate and made it a little tough
Yes.
for you guys. But yeah, just I hope I was able to answer you over there.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's a good reminder to go through everyday life and find yourself, doing those kind of calculations to give myself the confidence. So thank you for bringing that up.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Thank you. Neha had a question. Neha, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, hi. I'm so sorry. There was some background sound, hence I missed the part of sanity check. So just wanted to know more around how you will do the sanity check for this case, or what all should be considered when it comes to sanity check for the numbers.
Just wanna
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah, so I think so that Neha is asking about the sanity check. So do you want to take first stab at it, and then I think I can take a stab.
Sure, sure. So Neha, I'll tell you what the sanity check really means, right? Uh, Now, sanity is something which again comes by practice. That's not something that you because you are getting this answer. So and we are asking you to do that sanity check at the same point of time. So it's very hard for the mind to come back to it and then again give a different answer because your mind is not thinking in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
So in that fact, just ensure this will come by practice, but just ensure that, for example, in this case, my answer was 20 lakhs. If you give me an answer that there are 2,000 cars in Delhi, right? Or for example, you give me an answer that there are 2 crore cars in Delhi. As an interviewer, will tell you, Neha, I think 2 crore is the population of Delhi. Do you think everyone has a car in Delhi? And then probably you will
Okay.
introspect. So rather than interview,
Hey Neha, can you go on mute? So sorry. I
So
think there's
sorry.
disturbance on you. Thanks.
no worries. So do that yourself. Introspect when you're giving that final answer. Just do a 30-second introspection within yourself. If the interviewer asks you, Neha, are you confident with your answer? When he asks you that question, that means you are haywire. You are way off from the real answer. That is the moment when Neha, you have to just introspect and think, hey, I think I gave a 2 crores car in Delhi. I think that's the population of Delhi. Yeah? I mean, how can that be the number of cars? And that's where you will get your answer. And of course, nothing beats practice, but sanity check is something which your mind will not give you answer at that point of time. The cheat code over there is to stay calm, think through it, uh, take a deep breath, and just focus on the question, and then you might be able to do a sanity check on by yourself and introspect your answer over there. So there's no right or wrong answer again over there. It's just that you have to go through that module of introspection, and then only you'll get that answer. And I hope I was able to clarify over there. Nish, if I
Yeah,
want to add
Yeah.
something, good.
yeah. So I think I'll just add to what Sid said. There's no right or wrong. Just I think when you're doing a sanity check, uh, just try to think in a range, okay, where somebody just called out range. Like it's again a good practice. It's not like that's something used, but I use that word. Just we can take this example, okay. How I would go about doing this is there is Delhi's population is 2 crore according to this example. Number of families is 40 lakhs, right? I know everybody can't have a car. Logically, 50% of the people is gonna have a car, right? They can either have one car or they can have two car, right? So I went to for 20 lakh. Then I said like, okay, it can be maybe I would say like, okay, 20 lakh at max, I'm looking at somewhere of a number of say 40 lakhs, right? So I would say my range is between 20 lakh to 40 lakh. And again, this is a very, like, I'm just taking an example on top of my head, right? But I think you just make those logical estimates, right? You try to look at the lower bound, try to look at the upper bound. Again, how do you come up with this? Is it's a guesstimate, so there are always going to be assumption. The way I am calculating the lower bound and upper bound is super difficult. How different from what Siddharth might come up with. But I think the whole point is try to have that lower bound and upper bound and try to make sure you're falling into that, right? It's just market sense. Just like, okay, maximum it could be this much, minimum it could be this much, right? So yeah, it's just I think that I think it is more data sense. You just get it with practice. It's not that difficult, but it's just an intuition. It's like product sense, as people call it, right? How do you develop product sense? It's just intuition. What is product sense? It's just an intuition without looking at data whether product will work or not, right? You just develop it with go. It's like an intuition, is how I would put it. Yeah. Okay, I think Pulkit also has a question. Pulkit, can you ask your question? And I think then Siddharth, you wanted to ask audience also a question.
Yes, I have written the question in the chat also. One question was asked in my interview. How many views are generated by YouTube on a daily basis globally?
Hmm.
So if you can show your approach.
Uh, okay. Do you want to take it afterwards? I think I can just drop in my number or LinkedIn. We can connect. It's going to take time, man. It's not going to be done in a minute. But I'll just drop my number. You can just contact me after this.
Sure, sure.
It's easy. I know, like on top of my head, because I've also seen this question. So don't worry. I can help you out. But it's a very commonly asked question. But this will take time. Um, okay. So that do you want to ask audience a question or like how?
So I think in the interest of time, what we'll do is, Tanish, that we will, take any other questions that the team or
Yeah.
the, people
Sure.
might have, and then we will leave them with this question.
Yeah.
And of course, and then they can think it through, and
Yeah.
that's something that will help them out.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, before I, give you that question, guys, to practice at your home, come up with one answer. Any other clarifications, doubts that you guys might have, right now for this call, and then probably, uh, we'll drop off.
Yeah, folks, you have any question?
And I think Sumit has pasted a link in the chat. Guys, please do leave your comments, feedbacks, and as Sumit mentioned in the initial call, starting the call, that what are the kind of session that you want us to take? That's something that we will be able to take forward, right, in future sessions. But yeah, do leave your comments and the feedback. Happy to help. So cool. Since there are no questions, guys, what I will do is that I will just, bring up a question. And this is something that I had faced, in person at one of the interviews. And probably I would then, leave you guys take a stab at it. The question was this, and if any one of you have a doubt, please feel free to ask me again. The question says, how many flights take off from Indira Gandhi International Airport, that's Delhi Airport, in a day? So I hope the question is clear, right? Uh, take a stab at it. You can also, for sanity, you always have Google, right? You can Google it out to get the right answer, what is there. But before Googling, do take an approach like I showed you of how to break it down into different buckets. Do take that approach, get your answer first, and then see where are you going wrong. And for any doubts, you can always reach out to Tanishk or me. I think that will be it from my end as well. So yeah,
Siddharth, I have joined, like I've dropped my LinkedIn and number in the chat. Can you also do the same if people wants to
I'll
contact?
just drop in my LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. And so, guys, Sumit has also pasted a form. If you can also fill that, be super helpful. Um, Cool. Guys, I think the question is how many flights take off from Delhi airport per day? Do your question, share us with on LinkedIn or on WhatsApp, whatever medium you feel is good. We can review it and always give you feedback. Okay. And I think somebody also talk about how many views. Pulkit, we can connect after. Let's do it tomorrow in the evening. Okay. We can go over that case once. Okay. Awesome. I think Siddharth is putting his LinkedIn and number in the chat and cool. Awesome. Thanks, folks. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for chiming in. Hope session was helpful. Please do share feedback. It helps us to improve as a community and also as a speakers.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being a nice audience. And of course, look forward to meeting you guys in future sessions. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice evening.
Same this side. Thanks. Here's Siddharth and Sumit. Can you stay back for 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you. Guys, let me call you separately. Okay.
Goodbye.
Thanks, folks. See ya.